तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः। ज्ञाता ज्ञानं तथा ज्ञेयं द्रष्टा दर्शनदृश्यभू कर्ता हेतुः क्रिया यस्मात् तस्मै ज्ञात्यात्मने नमः। स्फुरन्ति सीकरा यस्मात् आनन्दसाम्बरे वनो सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। ओम्। वेदोदधिं समुन्मथ्य ज्ञानरत्नं समुद्रितं येन तस्मै वसिष्ठाय गुरुणां गुरवे नमः। वशिष्ठ जी भगवान की जय। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय। सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय। शब्द ब्रह्म की जय। सरस्वती महारानी की जय। जोग वशिष्ठ जी भगवान की जय। हरि ओम। Today we shall see Yoga Vasishtha Nirvana Prakaran, last half, and 100th chapter, and in this chapter we shall see analytically with all the proofs and all the examples and logic, everything we shall see on the point. People in this world, they take this body to be this self. This is the whole trouble with all the people in this world. Almost all. Why? Because rarely someone we get who is beyond this world, who is called Sthita Prajna or Jnani, a man of wisdom. Wisdom means man of experience. Rarely we see one somewhere out of millions and billions of people. So generally, all the people in this world who are called worldly people, who are taken as ignorant persons, ignorant, they are not wise men. Who is called wise man? According to our Vedantic method, whatever we hear, if you contemplate over the object or subject or name or form, whatever we hear, whatever we see, or we perceive by our five senses of knowledge, we must understand to its depth, to its reality, what it is, how it is, where it is, all these aspects of an object or subject or any name or any form. We must know it to its real meaning. Of course, we have meanings of words here. Whatever we do or whatever we deal with these worldly affairs, everything is subject to name and form. So form is visible to the eyes and name is audible to the to the ears. These two senses are most important. Of course, tongue is as important as all these. Tongue has double double identity. It helps in speaking and it helps in tasting also. So both the senses are in the tongue. So whatever we perceive by our senses, it should be understood to its real meaning, to its depth. That is what we are going to analyze in this chapter. But generally the worldly people who never know what they hear, what they do, what is the meaning of it, all these are not generally thought over by the worldly people. Nobody thinks. Whatever you have heard, whatever you have spoken, what is the meaning of it, what you smelt, what is it, how it is, by what method you have accepted, perceived it, all these nobody cares to think over. We just do something by our senses haphazardly. We hear but hear not. We see but we see not the reality. So we have to understand it to its real meaning, true meaning. Whatever we hear, of course the whole world is based on sound only. If you don't hear, a deaf person cannot speak also, because the speech is dependent on hearing. When you hear something, you try to speak the same thing. So the tongue is dependent on ears. Generally we see the deaf person is dumb also. Such a person cannot speak. It shows whatever you hear, it should be understood properly, and then on that we can give our opinion or we can express something. So generally, the senses are so turbulent, so restless, because mind is restless, mind is behind these senses. So all these senses, they do some actions so haphazardly. It changes every moment, so no sense is stable on one subject or object or any sound. It is always changing, so that shows we don't care for its reality. Whatever we hear, we hear it haphazardly, we understand haphazardly, and we do something else other than what we heard to be done. So this is how all the people in this world, those who are not habituated to think over whatever they have heard or what to do, what to be done, all these nobody cares because of the restlessness of mind and the ever-changing senses. So we don't know the reality. That's how it is said, whatever you hear, try to contemplate over it, what you have heard, and what is the meaning of it, and what it needs according to time, space, and conditions, what is to be done. So, one who tries to do this, he needs a stable mind, a restful mind, one-pointed mind. Then only we can do it. So generally people don't think over. And the whole world, as it were, is based on only sound, and sound is name. Without name we don't know the form. World is based upon names and forms. So form is of course there. Form we understand as some demarcating lines, a limited area which is demarcated by lines on the surface of infinity or all-pervading existence. When it is identified with particular linings, it creates a form, and that form is known as a being. Let it be any form. Even we have classified some forms are living beings and some are non-living beings. Non-living just is a word to say, to understand something, but life is all-pervading, universal energy which is ever present everywhere in all conditions. So we cannot say anything to be absolutely lifeless. Life is all-pervading. But even then we classify some objects to be non-living and some other objects are living. Living means wherever, in whatever object we see, we can perceive by our senses, which is movable. That is called living being. Some movements are seen. That is called life principle. And which are not movable, they don't move by themselves. Movement is not seen by the senses. That is classified as non-living being. For the example, say stone, or sometimes we say the plant life, also non-living. But when we analyze little on the plant life we see there is movement. So we call it a half living being. That means it is living being, but the life principally is not experienced by it. It is just like a dreamy object. In the dream we see everything is moving, but that movement is meaningless when we are aware, we are in waking state. That dream movement is meaningless. Similarly, all these, some of the beings are called non-living or living, some are half-living beings. Anyway, all these are based upon the form that is called object or being, and that is identified by some linings which limits the unlimited existence to a certain form. That is called being. And these beings are classified into different classes anyhow. So, all these objects should have some name. Then only we can name it, and then we can behave with it. We can have transaction with it. Without the name, object is not perceived properly by the senses. So name is nothing but a sound. The sound, of course, the sound is the basic principle on which the whole world with names and forms are dependent. Sound is the first and foremost expression of the absolute existence. It expresses itself by sound only. And sound is nothing but, don't forget, sound is nothing but waves. And wave is restlessness on the equilibrium surface, steady surface, which is not moving, ever steady, ever in the equilibrium position. So that is eternal, that is all-pervading, and that is ever-existing. So that particular existence, which is unlimited and ever-present, it can be only understood. Understood means by the senses. It can be contacted with by the senses only when there is form or name. Unlimited we cannot contact with by our senses. And we, the living beings, we are human beings, the superior beings we claim to be, and we perceive this world only by senses. And senses are limited, and they are ever restless, and they have little contact with all these forms, limited forms, which are called beings. And then only the senses can have contact and have dealing with it. So the whole world is based on these forms which will have some identification by the name. This is this. Then only our senses can have contact with it. In this way, this world can be taken as this world. Now, we have some words which have got some philosophic names or philosophic wordings. In our life, we are dependent on only sound, and sound is nothing but the identificatory names of the objects. That is how the whole world is there. So these words we have to see how it is used and what is the meaning of it analytically from every angle, from all round angle. When we understand the meaning of the words, then we can understand all about the form. Then only. So there are whatever sounds we have, we can classify it into two sections. See, one is meaningful, and it is mostly used by the philosophers, the philosophic words. And those words are not generally used by the worldly people for their daily transactions. Understood? Some words which are not daily used by worldly people for their life transactions, they are used by the philosophers, thinkful people, thoughtful people, those who analytically see the meaning. Those words are something different than the worldly words. Why we are discussing all this? Because we have to see here in this chapter the meaning of body and self. Two words we have which are always complicated, always it changes its meaning. Body. What do you mean by body? Generally, body means a form with some flesh and bone. This is what we understand, isn't it? Body. But body has also meaning. Body means a whole total identity. Trust body, the government body, isn't it? Body means a totality. In this sense, if we see, we analyze this body, what we think this is the body with a form and with a name, body, and body also will have some name, and it will have form with demarcating lines, limited demarcating lines. And that is, as a body we understand our flesh and bone, some structure, and generally we don't go to analyze how is this body, what it is, how it is created, how it changes, and how long it will change, what will be the consequence in the end, where does it go, where from it comes. All this generally is not analyzed by people. Body means body, that is child. Oh, he has become now young, now he has become old, now this body is going to die. And we take everything as the body, only body is responsible for everything, our life. And we consider all the people almost, they consider I am means I am the body. And the name also is given to the body. How we behave, how we understand. Say, the child's name is Ram. What we understand? Ram means that form, the body of that child, isn't it? Which is limited by lines. When you take a photograph, what you get? It is under the lines, limited lines. So that form has got the name Ram. Say, I call Ram, who responds? Who is responding? The body is responding, isn't it? The ear is hearing the sound, and the reaction is seen from the body. I am Ram, isn't it? But Ram is not the body. Ram is a name, a sound. That's how when we ask somebody, what is your name? What is your name? We don't ask like this. We ask, what is your name? And we reply also, my name is, not I name is. That means I am different from the body. Body is named as Rama, isn't it? Ram means the name of the body. That's how I say my name. So my body, my nose, my eyes, all these belong to me. It is not I. My house, this is my bed, this is my leg. That means I am not the leg. My is possessive case. It belongs to me, isn't it? So, when we have transaction with the sound, we use the sound or name, so much confusion is there. If I call Ram, yes, can you come here? Yes, Swamiji. Who comes near me? The body comes. Whole body means whole body cannot move, only legs can move. Legs move, and then body is moving, and it cannot move without prana, without mind, without a thought. It cannot move. And the ear hears the sound, my name is Rama and I am called. So the body stands up and starts moving. So from all these, when we analyze, we see analytically, body is not I, but body belongs to me, belongs to I, the real identity. I am something else, body is something else. But generally, when we do our daily transactions, giving and taking, or dealing with somebody or something, then body is doing everything. I am nowhere. Body does everything with all the senses. Body sees the object. If I say, you are going to market, please bring some apples. Okay. Who will go to the fruit shop? The legs will go. The ears have heard it. And mind has understood what is told to it. And that understanding is dependent on the daily transaction, daily uses, style of using of words and objects, having contact with the objects. So, you have heard to bring some apples from the market. How the work is done? The body goes there, body with all the senses, senses of knowledge, senses of action, and the mouth says, and dear shopkeeper, can you give me 1 kilo apple? He gives you apple. You have to use your tongue, and he hears the sound. He understands that apple is name of this fruit, and he gives you some apples. And your hands, your eyes see, your ear also is always attentive. It hears the words and understands something. Your hands receives the fruits and it brings and gives to me. So all these actions are done by the body only, with all the senses, and behind the senses, the mind is the director. Mind directs every moment all these senses to act according to the situation. And mind also, if we analyze, mind is nothing but a flow of thought waves, thought waves. Waves are of different kinds. When the thought waves are flowing in a particular way, that flow is known as mind. And in that flow also, just as we see in the river, the water is flowing, but we see many kinds of differences in water, some waves, some bubbles, some whirlpools, some speed, movement, all these, some color of the water, and some sound also. So all these are seen as the river, and we say, we name the river and we say it is flowing. Similarly, this flow of thought waves it has got also different differences in all these waves. Some are gross waves. They are generally said as taken as thoughts. And these thoughts, which are very, very subtle, and they mingle with each other, and they have some consequence. That means when one object clashes with the other object, generally the third force is generated. When two forces act against each other, the third force is created, that is called diagonal force, and that is taken as the consequence. Just as we see in in some league matches, two teams, they play against each other, and the winner is selected. That selection is done by not the teams, some other person, some judge, we say referee, anyway. So the winner, which is the consequence of the diagonal force, consequence of fighting of two opposites, and the winner is the result. So in this way, one winner will fight again against another winner. Both the winners, they will play against each other. From them again another winner will be decided. And in this way the league match go on, and finally there will be quarter final, semi-final and final. So final will be played by two teams only. They are the winners of the two groups, and between those two, one will be the final winner. He will get the cup or the reward, isn't it? So the same process goes on in our mind also. Mind is common flow of thought waves, and the decisive thoughts, which are part and parcel of the same flow, thought waves, they are subtler than, and they are decisive ones, and those decisive thoughts are together called intellect. And they have also different phases, different aspects. Some are gross, some are subtle, some are subtler than the subtle. In this way, when they go on deciding things, then the last two parties, they fight against each other. They are permanent and impermanent two objects, perishable and imperishable, abhinasi and vinashashil. Two objects remains in the end, and that decision will be taken not by the intellect, it is taken by discriminative power of the intellect, which is nothing but mind only. So, that is the final. In this way, when we analyze our identity, our personality, the body is, of course, gross with many parts, limbs in it. Body has a name, and the identity which holds the body is not the body. It is my body. The person says it is my body. That means I is different from the body. My is a possessive case. It is not noun. I is noun, but in our general grammar, the things are different. Philosophical grammar, analytical grammar says I is noun and I is always one, but it becomes many. The moment it is seen, it becomes many. And it identifies with the body. Then only that identification is known as the ego. I am body. I am means I is identifying itself with the body, and I am body, so it becomes many. Body is a total figure. Body is not singular. Body is always plural. Body is not one. It has got many parts and parcels, and it together becomes one body. In this way, when we analyze this body is a belonging, it belongs to me, it is my property, it is my belonging. Okay. Now this body, when body is analyzed properly, how it is made, who has made this? So we see this body is not only what we see, flesh and bone, but it has got, the whole total body has got nothing but all these five basic elements: sky, air, fire, and water and earth. All these five elements, they get together in different ratios, different ways, and they make this body. But they cannot mix themselves by themselves. There should be some background identity who gives a push to do all these. Panchikaran, all these five elements, they get together in different forms, different ratios, different ways, and they make all these names and forms which are seen in this world. So body also is one among these. So whatever we see, whatever forms are seen, or whatever names we perceive, which constitutes this whole universe, everything is based on five elements: sky and air. In this body, we understand air as prana, the energy, vital energy, which gives a push to all the body in different ways, in different sections, and then only body moves. So body is built by five elements, and prana is the important element which gives a momentum to the body. And that same thing, that prana is nothing but only waves. When sky, which is unmovable, when the movement is seen in the sky, we call the same sky as the air or prana or energy or movement, whatever way you can tell. When sky, the ether, the space is seen in movement, which is not possible, that movement is known as waves or prana, or we call it restlessness. The sky is always restful, and when we see something, some movement, then that is called prana, and that we use as energy. Energy is always restless, and one wave in the, it is wavy system, one wave gives rise to the other wave, that is change. The process means a continuous changing process. That is called energy. Energy means it changes every moment. And the same thing, this prana, which is always changeable, it otherwise from other angle when we see, it gives a push to the other object. Means one wave, when is created, it creates a momentum to create another wave. So it goes on changing. And this prana also, all these five elements together is known as the nature. Nature. The nature, we say it is the universal energy, or prakriti, we say, how it becomes unsettled. It becomes in three ways. This movement or unsettledness on the surface of complete steadiness, it first it is seen in three waves. They are called sattva, rajas, tamas, we call it qualities. And then all these three qualities, they mix up with each other in different ratios and different ways, and they go on making different waves. And that is called the nature or prakriti, or the whole creative power. And that is the prana. Prana is first element which moves, which is known as life. Life. And then when there is movement, there will be, of course, friction. One will cross against each other. Then there will be heat. Heat is nature of every movement. Then from prana, from air, the fire is known. Fire we see. And wherever there will be heat, heat means fire. Fire means oxygen and hydrogen. And that the same fire is differently known as water, hydrogen. Isn't it? Water is H2O. Oxygen and hydrogen. Same thing is fire also. And when it accumulates with each other in some ways, some grossness is seen, that is called earth. We call it the residue. When you keep some water for some time, naturally there will be some residue underneath. That is the nature of the water. So that is called earth. In this way, all these five elements which are not different from each other, they are one and the same. And basically, which is absolute steadiness, which is otherwise known as Paramatma. So in this way, all the names and forms of the world we see, and our body also. Body is made up of five elements. We see, we have heat and temperature, we measure. We can see the body analytically by medical science also. Heat and cough, according to Ayurveda, the body is stable. It will be without any complaints if three aspects of life are balanced in it. Three aspects, the air and fire and water. That means bath, pitta and kapha. Three elements, if they are in balanced state, the body is known as diseaseless. It works properly. And when the body, all these three elements are imbalanced, then body is diseased. We call it disease. And according to Vaidya Shastra, Ayurveda, the doctor wants to bring these three elements into balanced state by some medicines, by applying some ways. So, when we analyze this body, of course, from different angles, it looks differently. Five elements, grossly flesh and bone. And flesh and bone, when we analyze, they are full of cells, and every cell has movement. It is with life. Every cell of a hair also has movement. It grows, it decays. So, everywhere the life force, that is prana, it is active in all the parts of the body. And in what way it activates? It gives a push to move on. चेष्टा प्रदान करता है. चेष्टा. it gives a momentum. So, the body has different lines of different uh, nerves and arteries. They are counted by yogis, the seers of subtle identities. So they see this body. Of course, this is supported by modern science, modern medical science. 72 crores of nerve systems, nerves, they are working in this body, and they have some fluid in it. That fluid is pushed by the air, vital energy, and this vital energy which we name as prana, it is classified into 10 groups and mainly 5, and they work in different parts of the body. Working means they just give momentum to the cells and nerves and other items to move. Then only the body can move, and body is known as living body. And when there is no movement, it is called dead body. No movement means it is dead. No movement means you cannot say the prana is totally absent there. Prana is present, but without that capacity to give a push. Prana will be there. Prana is in different layers in this world. Utmost subtle prana, that is the cosmic prana, it was pervading and ever present everywhere in all conditions. So, according to that, there is no dead body, there is no living body, everybody is always living. Prana is always present everywhere. But that prana is so subtle, it doesn't give a visible momentum to gross objects. So prana has also different labels of its existence. Just as we see by our modern science, we see the lower level of air on the surface of earth will be heavier and thicker. That means it will have more density, and when it is seen up and up, we go to the higher places, that air becomes thinner and thinner, and all these so-called life elements, oxygen for the human beings. Why I said so-called? Oxygen is not real life force which is needed for the human beings. Carbon dioxide, all these gases, they are life forces. They are used by different beings. Of course, human beings need only oxygen, and they give up carbon dioxide. So plant life, they want movement by carbon dioxide. Somewhere nitrate, some others, they use different gases. So the whole air with all these gases, they are life force only. They give momentum to bodies, whether living or non-living. They always give a momentum. That momentum is seen clearly in living beings, and in non-living beings we don't see the movement grossly, but there is movement. So in this way we see the body by little analysis. Yet there is blood in this body. Blood means blood, some fluid in the nerve systems, and they get, when they work, they observe all the unwanted things from the body which is thrown out by same prana. Other prana collects it and it is thrown out by other means. So some prana, some aspect of prana works to throw out the unnecessary things when the movement is going on. And in this way, prana, apana, etc., they work in different areas of the body, and body always needs balance in air, fire and water principle in the body. It should be always in balance. From still other angle, when we see the body, it is from one angle. From other angle, when we see, the body is divided into five seeds. The food what we eat, that is also a source for energy, and that is used by the prana. Prana means all the pranas. And that food we get from outside, and it creates a gross, we can say covering, gross covering, which keeps the body unaffected from the other bodies, that is skin and flesh also, and from that slowly, from blood, from food, prana transfers the food into different objects in the body, say blood, then many other objects in the body, and finally the bone, which holds the body in a way. Anyhow, this from other angle where we see, from food a covering is created, that is called annamaya kosh. It is made by the extract of food. So the overlapping this skin and flesh, etc., made by food. And then pranamaya kosh, prana where the wind is working, and also mind, manomaya kosh, where mind is the director of all the senses, and prana also. Prana gives energy to mind to move on, and mind controls the prana also. They are interdependent. And this body, our life system, is a cooperative society. It has got three aspects: cooperative, three aspects. One is fourfold mind with ego. Mind will be there. And other will be prana, the energy. And the third will be the whole total body with the senses. They are triangular force. They help each other, cooperate with each other, and the whole body system is on process. In this way, this mental seed also is there. And pranamaya was the pranic seed. And then where intellect works, subtle intellect, that is, बोलो क्या को विज्ञानमय कोश. Why Vijnan? Vijnan means analytical knowledge. Intellect only is decisive power, so that see their mind cannot do anything. Without decision, mind cannot do anything. So same aspect of mind, which is known as intellect, that helps everything. That directs the mind also to give a order or push to the senses or the whole body to act. So, buddhi, intellect also, it works in one phase, in one level throughout the body. So, these all seeds are different levels of existence of this body. They are not different from each other in a particular lining way. This up to this it is mental body, up to this it is pranimaya kosh. Not this, everything is intermingled.
At what stage then the mind actually duality to do or not to do, which force actors to take the decision?
That is intellect.
Well, what is the one to do or not to do?
That also is intellect. Decisive power. Mind is nothing but only the simple flow with waves which are gross thoughts. And when they mingle up each other with each other, then the diagonal force, the decisive thought is created out of two thought waves. And that is every moment it is going on. Mind is good for nothing. Whatever mind asks, that is to be said to be intellect only.
Intellect which makes it to take a decision. On what factor does it take the decision?
On
Which factor does it take the decision? Intellect.
what factor? The same waves, they act against each other, and the third wave is created, that is called decisive wave. Same mind, same process. When we play league match, same team is going to be winner. Team only. The players are there. They are not different from the other players, but they are superior. little superior, better than others. That's how they are called winner.
What criteria does it use to take the
See, I will tell you from other angle. Mind is nothing but thought waves and a flow, and how the mind works. The thought wave means it is not stable, it will have to move on. So, when the movement is done in the seen in the heart, which is absolutely steady, somehow if the movement is seen, that is named differently, that movement, fast wave, that is known as sound or prana or mind also. Name it as you like, but same wave, which is rest, unrest, mean which is not steady, which is a movement, wave. The fast wave is known as prana or mind or sound. And when it moves on, it expresses itself. There are different levels of the process. You can understand just as we see in the morning, the visibility or the light enters into darkness in a very, very slow process where we cannot give any demarcating line. This much visibility or this much light has entered here and this much darkness is absent. We cannot say in this way. So in this way, when the expression of that absolute steadiness, what we call it Hridaya, the heart, or the cave of the heart, or we call it the absolute truth. We are going to discuss the same thing finally.
subconscious mind and
No, I am just explaining you how the mind works. So these waves, when it comes out of the mouth, it is called sound. We hear it. This sound also has to say something, to see something. We have 4 pages. Para Pashyanti, Para, Apara, Pashyanti, and Vaikhari. The same prana only it becomes the sound when it is expressed outside. When it moves on to the brain, that is another part of the body where it is made by innumerable holes, just as see the beehive self or our क्या कहते हैं उसको छत्ता, the honey bee, they are what do you call it? Beehive, yes. As there are so many innumerable small holes are there, still very, very minute wavery holes are there in the brain, and this movement, this wave goes there and it vibrates there also in different regions, and different kinds of thoughts are created. Thoughts are only waves. One wave creates the other wave. So that heart, fast wave, what is created and it spreads all over the body. So somewhere it helps the uh, nerve systems, and nerve centers are there. There it activates as prana or kundalini force, and when it goes to say our physical heart, that also helps the uh, beating of heart or working of uh, four parts of the heart, collecting blood and diffusing it again. And when it works in the brain, those waves, they create other waves by striking against those holes. So those waves are called thought waves. And these waves are of different kinds because they are innumerable different holes in different parts of the brain. So a particular phase is named as something, and mainly it is divided into two. So all these thoughts are either positive or negative. Positive means Daivik, and negative means Asuric. Asuri Sampat and Daivi Sampat. All these are waves only and thoughts only. They are also differently divided in different parts in the brain. So, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, or Daya, Dharma, or Ahimsa, Satya, Brahmacharya, etc. So many different parts.
Same thought waves are called, at one stage subconscious mind and other stage as a conscious mind.
No, we shall come to subconscious. All these thoughts are called mind only. And when these waves, they are waves, they cannot be stable. So they have to go out of the body. Why? How? Because they are waves, they cannot be stable. They have to move on. So the ways to move on are only senses, outgoing windows. So they are divided into five categories. Their five categories are called uh, tanmatras. Tanmatras, five kinds of thoughts. Sabda, Sparsa, Roop, Ras, Gandh. All these five categories of different waves, they have to go out with five ways, windows. They are called senses of knowledge. So these waves, particular wave of particular nature, it goes out, it has to go out because it is unstable. So the particular wave which goes out by the ear, that is called sound, and that goes to some sound and outside sound, and it gets contact. Say, the thought which goes through the eyes, it has to go and contact the forms only. In this way, nose, smell, etc., and skin, the touch. So all these five kinds of thoughts, they go out and they have contact with the sense objects. The eyes have to have contact with the forms. The ear has to contact with the sound. In this way, they are divided. And when they have contact with the object of five kinds, it has contact for a flash of second. It doesn't get contact and remains there for a period of time. It is fraction of second. It gets contact, and because it is a movement, when it is obstructed by the particular object, it has to come back. Just as the ray of light, when it is obstructed, it has to go back. Of course, it has some rules and regulations. So in this way, when the thought comes back, it will come back with the same way it has to come back. So, whatever contact it has, in what way it has contact. When it gets contact with the other object, there will be change. That changeful coming back waves, they are called decisive waves. Understood now? They decide how it is, where it is, when it is, what it is. All these thoughts then only are created when it comes back. Yes, all these are intellect only. And it brings all these waves and it stores somewhere, which is known as the impressions. It is so subtle that intellect which creates the decisive thoughts, which is brought back, that is stored in some way, some place. That also is the subtlemost part of the brain, which is called mind only, which is known as the subconscious mind. We call it chitta. It is not gross brain. It is so subtle, just as our thoughts are subtle. Subtler than the thoughts are decisive thoughts, intellect. Subtler than that will be impressions, memories, and all these impressions you can understand. You see, this is a paper. It has, what it has? So many things. It has got impressions also. These are called impressions. Of course, in other language we call linings. Then still other language will be a form. And limited lines in unlimited white form of the paper, and it has got so many impressions. Even if you rub it out, it will have some remnants. And here also, see, this is also impression. This side, wherever. This is also impression. Some identity is known as impression. So whatever it may be. So this is so subtle. This is deposited in the subtlemost part of the identity, which is known as mind or intellect. You call it whatever you know. The best word can be identity. Identity of yourself. It has got subtlemost part which expands itself and your body, your personality is made. So that is called chitta or subconscious mind, where from all the impressions are scattered away and they take different forms, gross forms, and they become mind or intellect. They they become memories of the past or imagination of the future, etc. So in this way, the impressions are collected, those impressions are called intellectual impressions. They are called our knowledge, so-called worldly knowledge. So-called worldly knowledge. It is nothing but the impression which is collected from the contact of the thoughts with the objects, particular objects. They are called impression, that is called your knowledge. It is good for nothing, momentary, so fluctuating. And if the thought remains with the object for a long time, then more impressions it can collect. Mind will spread there and collect all these. Intellect will act there and collect all those informations. So you will have more knowledge. That is called one-pointed mind. Ekagrata, that is known as ekagrata. One-pointed mind means the thought waves should not go away from the object but be steady on the object for a pretty long time. Let it be even for a second, that will be so powerful. And if it is for a minute or more than that, what to speak of it, it collects so pure information from the clear information from the object, that is called analytical or real knowledge of the object. If the mind, a thought remains with the object permanently and it becomes one with the object, it pervades all through the object, becomes one with the object, then it gets the full total knowledge of the object, that is called real knowledge. That becomes our experiential knowledge. Until then, the intellect works through. And intellect is known as the returning informative aspect of the thought waves. Same thought, same waves, but in different phases they are named differently. Just as we name the breath, inhaling, exhaling, Rechak or Purak or Kumbhak, we name the phases of breathing only. Same breath, same movement, same force of movement. We call it prana, and it goes out and comes in. In different phases we name it differently. So all these are only process. So this process is called life process, life. So in this way, from one angle, 5 seeds of the body, the last seed is Anandamaya Kosha, which is very close to the heart, and it is more stable than the other seeds, and it is innermost, and where your movements are so stable, they seem to be non-moving, but there is movement. Quality means, sattva means there is movement, but it doesn't appear as if it is moving. The last subtle, most sattvic state of the whole system is Anandamaya Kosha. There is pleasure or real happiness, stable happiness, which we call Anand, in steadiness, In restlessness there is no pleasure. In two words we can understand our life. Restlessness is ignorance. Restlessness is non-worldly life. Restlessness is disease. And restlessness is our life, mind, our prana, and everything. The whole world restless, but steadiness or the balance, harmonious state of the everything being is known as the truth or heart or the knowledge, real knowledge, or it is called the absolute param. Beyond that nothing is there. And that has to be one, it cannot be two. So it has to be permanent, all pervading, and absolutely one without a second, and absolute presence which cannot be absent. So in this way, heart is taken as the param or the anand or the absolute, and when there is seen some movements, some kind of movements, then all different, from different angle we have named it differently. Different seers have seen it from different angle. Some says the life force is prana. Some says no, without mind there is no prana. Mind cannot. Without mind, prana doesn't work. So intellect is a better or superior than the mind. In this way, we have seen in Gita, the body is the senses are superior to the body. Senses are more active and they move the body, so body cannot do by itself, nothing it can do. It cannot move. Only the senses of actions or senses of knowledge, all these 10 senses, they move the body in their ways, and then we know it as a living being. So body is nothing. Senses are superior than the body. So here we shall discuss it still more tomorrow, but till now, whatever we have discussed, see this body is good for nothing. It is accumulation or a total aspect of some collections. 5, you can say 5 elements, or it is seen by 5 seeds, or it is work of the mind and senses, or any way you can take it, this body is root cause for everything. Whether I is the body or my is body, does it belong to someone which says my body, or it itself identifies itself as I or my? All these we shall clearly, page by page, we shall discuss how is the person. What is called murti. Murti means whatever is manifested with a form, with a limited lines, a form and a name. So here, this body, of course, This body is sometimes taken as the self. We shall discuss on self tomorrow elaborately. Self for today, this much you can understand. Self is a comparative word. Self actually meaning, real meaning of self is the central holding aspect of the total body. That is called self. The central holding aspect of the whole body. There will be a center of everything. Whatever we see, whatever form we have, it must have a center around which all the actions will be going on. Every form will have a center, isn't it? The center controls the whole body. And that center here in the body we know as heart. And when we see a total body, it will have the inside aspect and outside aspect always, because there are lines, forms. So inside, outside will be always there. Innermost part will be center, and that's above that center, around that center, the whole body will be working. So that center is known as the self. And this is a comparative word. It is always compared to something else, the outer aspect and the inner aspect, or better or subtler aspect, will be considered as the self in comparison with the outer aspect. Say, if we say 5 C's are in this body, the outer, see this skin. Skin is not the self, but self will be the pranamaya force, because it is inner to the skin, so that is central in comparison with the skin. So that is taken as self. In this way, when the body is taken as self, sometimes by some people, some seers, others, they see it analytically, they say, no, the senses are superior, they are still inner to the body. They are superior, they are the driver of this body. So, senses are the self. So, comparing these senses with mind, without mind the senses cannot do anything. They are inert, they cannot move, nothing they can do. So mind is superior or subtler than the senses. So mind is taken as the self when compared with senses. So now we have seen how is the intellect. Intellect is superior than mind. So they say mind is not self. The intellect is self. And of course, we have still more comparisons, but in Gita, he said, Hamare Krishna Bhagavan said, superior to the intellect is he. हाँ? क्या? Purushottam. Purushottam. So he is superior most. So he will be self. Indriyani paranyahu. Paranyahu. Indriyat. क्या इंद्रियाणि परानायु अरे श्लोक बोलो एंड परम मन मनस्तु परा बुद्धि जो बुद्ध है परसस्तु सह that you have to understand. It is directed, it is not expressed. So in this way, we know what is self. Self is a comparative term. It has got no particular meaning, always unchanging particular meaning is not there. It is always changing, its meaning will change. So we can mean this is self as the inner or subtler or central aspect of the body. In this way it is comparative. So when you go on comparing, the subtler or inner will be self, outer will be non-self. So in this way we shall see how is the body. Some people of some category, they take body as everything. We have seen when we saw all different schools of thoughts, they fight against each other, they differ from each other, and they claim that they are the real knowers, others are, they don't know anything. So in this way there is differences in different schools of thoughts. So some say this body is self, some say no, mind is self, some say no, intellect is self. But in reality, the innermost center is the Supreme Self. That's how we use the Supreme, the Absolute, beyond which there is nothing to say, nothing to understand. So that is utmost absolute self. And how it will be, so we shall discuss. It will be the subtlemost than, no, subtler than the subtlemost, Anuraniyan. And that is same way it pervades everywhere, it spreads everywhere, present everywhere. That's why it will be also, it has to be greater than the greatest. Mahatva Mahiyan. So in this shortcut way, Vedas have given the comparative aspects of the truth, absolute self, but we name it in different ways according to our process, according to our analytical process, according to our angle of vision, different angles. So we shall see what is real self, what is the meaning of self, and what is the meaning of the body. How the body is taken as self by some people, which is, whether it is right or wrong, how much right, how much wrong. Percentage we shall see. And then what is called real self? देह को आत्मा मानने वाले उनके मत में आग्रह रखने वालों को भी बुद्धि जैसे वास्तविक तत्व की ओर आकर्षित हो जाए, उसी युक्ति का वर्णन। हाउ one should be attracted towards the innermost truth, innermost self, and how one should understand the uselessness or the meaninglessness of the grosser outward coverings, and how is the central aspect is reality, how we should, how to think, how to identify, and then we can understand who am I. Almost all the great people, all the wise people, great saints, they always advise on one thing: you must know yourself. Before knowing others, your first and foremost duty is to know yourself. Maybe you are too intellectual, you are a great scientist, but do you know yourself? Who are you? Before knowing others, is it not your foremost duty to know yourself? We cram we by heart our historical persons, history, but we don't know our ancestors, our forefathers. We don't know the names and what did they do, how were they living, where were they living. We don't know anything about them, but we know the world history and world geography. So the first and foremost duty is to know yourself, analyze yourself, contemplate over yourself. Know thyself. And Gurudev used to say, inquire who am I? Know thyself and be free. There only you can have freedom, or else you are bound to other objects which are around you. You have contact with it, so you have influence both way. You have influence over all those objects. They have influence over you. That is called relativity. So you are dependent and others are dependent on you also. So you are always a gone case. You are entangled by so many names and forms around you. So you are bound to all these. So when you can cast off, throw out all these outward coverings which are not the self, then you will be the supreme self, the central holder of the whole world. Then you will understand who are you. That is what I shall discuss tomorrow. Thank you. Hari Om. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevamasesate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. Sachidananda Bhagavan ki jai. Sabda Brahma ki jai. सरस्वती महारानी की जय। योगवशिष्ठ जी भगवान की जय।